Hello and welcome to another update video about Cardano. We're going to take a look at the Cardano chart and also at the Bitcoin chart. Slight upside today across the board, where Solana is doing really well today, but also Bitcoin, Ethereum, also Cardano is up, and a lot of the other ones are actually up today. Polkadot finally, maybe getting close to the breakout point, or maybe already there. I will certainly provide an update later today. As you know, I'd only do this part-time, so I can't really cover everything every day, unfortunately, at least not yet, even though I'd love to. Let's start with Cardano. Cardano, I think, tried to break out of this triangle that we had in the previous video already, in the previous videos, but it fails to break out. So it's a bit subjective, you know. Do you say this is a descending triangle? Do you use the wicks, or do you use the candle bodies, you know? So depending on what you do, it's looking more or less like a descending triangle. But you know, in my view, we have now failed to break out here. Today Bitcoin did a nice move, as you can see here, and Cardano basically also failed to break out, and we're going to have a look at Bitcoin in a minute. But yeah, Cardano still at the moment, and you can see that here on the 1 hour chart, I think is getting as I said, tried to break out of the triangle. Actually, for a short period went above the $2 mark, but has bounced back into the triangle, and you will see that on the Bitcoin chart as well. Bitcoin did something very similar. So Cardano at the moment really following Bitcoin to a certain degree, and we are moving further into this apex, and this is the 1 hour chart. So I think today or tomorrow we need to see a breakout here, hopefully, and finally some sort of movement. At the moment we are still in this range market, still in another consolidation phase after this break here to the downside. Still looking a little bit like a descending triangle, even though you could argue, you know, if you use the candle bodies down here, this is a sort of symmetrical triangle, even though it's not symmetrical. It looks more like a descending triangle, which would indicate that we're going to drop once more, because a descending triangle would suggest that we move to the downside once more. And I did say that in the previous videos, that we could get back into the range between 145 and 181 once more, and then hopefully that's it, and from there we would then move to the upside and finally build some buying pressure here. What we can see, it's still a very bullish chart, and I did suggest it in a few previous video that you have these moves where we come down to the 200-day moving averages, and don't know why that doesn't show the 200-day moving average, so let me just put that on the daily. Always these moves back to the 200-day moving average. That happened back in July here. You know, we had a peak in May, moved back, had a long consolidation. Again, a long time nothing happened. We moved back, and on the 19th of July, in that week, we broke below the 200-day moving average very, very quickly, very briefly. It was a sharp drop. From there, we then moved finally very, very strongly to the upside, and we had a long push all the way up to $3.10, and we are now moving back to that 200-day moving average again. And again, we have touched it, but we haven't really moved through it as we did in July. So maybe we just need that final push to the downside, which will then be bought up very quickly, so that we can continue our push here to the upside in the next few weeks. Have a nice, very fast move to the upside that will only last maybe a couple of weeks or 3 weeks. And then that might be all that alt season, and then from there we will go to the moon. So for everybody who's interested in Bitcoin as well, Bitcoin is also in a triangle formation here. And again, today we tried to break out to the upside. You can see that in that 4 hour candle, and we actually closed the 4 hour candle above that triangle at around 62k. We broke, we closed above that. Then we dropped back into the triangle, broke back down into 61.6k. And actually now we are back above it. So yeah, that's what Bitcoin is doing. It's actually pushing above it again, and we can probably see that on the 1 hour chart again. You can see that we try to move above. It's a bit difficult to see. I think we probably, if we move that a little bit higher, but that would still indicate that we are now above that line, which is good. That would indicate we are also above the 20-day moving average again, which we were below this morning, I think, or yesterday. So we are. We were below it this morning, so it's good that we at least push above it. But again, we don't see that that impulsive formation to the upside here at the moment. Still consolidation as well, and I would expect that we drop down once more into the target range that I told you in a previous video, between 57 and 53k, because the drop that we already had into the target range, it was very, very short only, and since then we have not seen a major move to the upside that we need to see. I think Ethereum, to be honest, is looking better. And for Ethereum, I would primarily expect further price increases this week, maybe even towards $5,000. So we have a nice move here to the upside, and we can see that we get supported by the 200, what is that, the 200 period moving average on the 1 hour chart here currently, and also the 20-day moving average. We get support here. So yeah, we are continuing to move up here on the Ethereum chart. It is looking much more bullish than the Bitcoin chart. And then let's take a final look at ADA BTC, where we're actually dropping. It looked a bit like back here that we actually found a low and a bottom here at 3250 or something. At this support line, it looked like we found some support, but I had always said, you know, it might be likely to get actually one step lower to that support line that we have at the moment, 3150, because that was the previous major low. I think if we drop further from here, that obviously would be quite bearish. There's one more support level at nearly, you know, 3000, but then below that there is not much more support. We could then drop quite a bit actually and lose out against Bitcoin. So it is that previous low here where we're finding support currently, and again, it needs a bit more patience, but as I showed you, the chart looks still extremely bullish, especially here when we compared what we did back in July, accelerated away from that 200-day moving average. And I said, you know, we could drop below that, we can drop below that. That is actually not a problem because we did that before, and when we dropped below that, that was the point where the buyers got interested and we had that huge move here to the upside. All right, overall also here on the weekly, we don't see the MACD on the ADA chart really accelerating up or losing any downward pressure steam. So I think that will happen soon, but at the moment it's looking still that we are in a shorter term downtrend. And let's just finally check the indicators on the daily. Here on the daily, what can we see? Again, down here, there we can actually see that the MACD is potentially beginning to turn around here. You know, we can see we come out of that deep red zone and have a bit of a lighter red tone on the MACD, but it's too early to tell. Still below the 50 line, obviously, on the RSI. So yeah, Cardano, again, on the chart doesn't really, looks rather bearish at the moment, and that's why I say we might come down once more. Bearish in the short term, I mean, long term still looks extremely bullish, and actually it's positive because, you know, the less we now pump, the more we will have a very impulsive pump as soon as it starts to move. All right, so hopefully you liked that update. If you did, please smash the like button, and if you want to follow me on this crypto journey, please subscribe. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.